When I introduce the graph of the logarithm, we can relate it to its inverse e to the x, but I don't really do it that way. I do drive home the fact that e to the x or 10 to the x or exponentials in general are the inverse function for log. But what I want to drive home is the domain is any number greater than 0. That's the first thing. Second thing is that when we have the log of a fraction between 0 and 1, the result is negative. I will explain, well, then I like to do an example. I'll do that in a bit. But the other thing I also like to drive home is the fact that the logarithm increases, but it increases at a very, very slow rate. So let's, for example, look at the log of 100. We go back to the definition. Y equals the log base a, in this case 10, of x. This is the same thing as solving 10 raised to what power equals 10 raised to the power of y equals, this is 100. 10 raised to the power of y is 100. Well, the solution to this is 2. Y 10 squared is 100. So the log of 100 is 2. In other words, when x is way out to 100, our graph is only up at 2. If this was 1,000, then 10 raised to what power is 1,000? Well, 10 cubed is 1,000. So now x has to go all the way out to 1,000 before our graph is just up to 3. So logarithms grow, but they grow very slowly. So that's another point I like to drive home with logarithms. Back to what I was saying before. I like to drive home the fact that the log of a fraction between 0 and 1 is going to be a negative number because our graph is under the x-axis. Why does it work that way? Well, let's look at 1 over 100. Again, this is base 10. So using the definition, this is the same as 10 raised to what power equals 1 over 100. Well, when we have 1 over some number, 100 in this case is 10 squared, by the rules of exponents, this is going to be 10 raised to a negative number, especially if this is a nice multiple of 10. So 1 over 10 squared is 10 to the negative 2, and we can see here the reason we get a negative y value, or our log is going to be negative when this is a fraction. The reason is because of this denominator. When we write it as an exponent, it becomes a base raised to a negative exponent. Here, y is equal to negative 2, so we can see here that why that happens and when we have fractions between 0 and 1.